Hello classmates, welcome to this video. And for this video, I'm going to present to you or discuss to you the first chapter or the introduction or the overview of science, technology, and society. So let us proceed on the next slide. So what do we need to know in this presentation or in this overview or introduction of the science, technology, and society? So I'm going to present to you the definition of science, technology, and society. So we're going to define each of the terms, the science, what is all about technology, and definitely what is society. Okay. Afterwards, we're going to look at the connection, or let's say the relationship of the three terms, yung science, yung technology, and society. And we're going to check out what would be the impact of these different terms. Let's say, for example, science and technology that influences now the society. At the same time, society also influences now the idea of science and then technology. Same as true with science and then technology. So science may have a connection with technology. At the same time, technology can influence as well the concept of science. Okay, so let's start with the definition. Let's start with the definition of science, technology, and society. So let's start with the first term, which is science. So we know that we already have a subject even during our elementary, going to high school, senior high, we already have a subject which is science. And commonly, the popular definition that we are thinking about science is that we always define before, and this was introduced to you as well, that science is a systematized body of knowledge. And why is it that it is called as a body of knowledge? Because when we try to go back on the history or the study of history of words, which is etymology, the science came from the Greek word which is scienza, or scientia, which means knowledge. Okay, that's why we come up with a simple definition, which is a systematized body of knowledge. But the question is, what is this body of knowledge? Okay, so we are pertaining to what we call the facts on natural phenomenon. So we are not dealing with opinions or maybe fantasy, but we are talking about body of knowledge of facts on the natural phenomenon. And what are those natural phenomenon? We are dealing or we are talking about the natural events or the natural occurrence that is happening here in our planet or here in our world. Or let's say the planet Earth. Aside from a definition which is body of knowledge, we can also say that science is actually a process. It is said a while back, sabi natin, it's systematized. Systematized in a way that it's actually a process. And a process which is it involves different kinds of processes, or let's say methods, strategies. Like for example, we are using scientific method. That is very common. When you talk about science, we have what we call scientific method to solve or answer a problem. That's why science is actually a process, because there is a method, scientific method to solve or answer a particular type of problem or a type of problem. And maybe questions or problem, or let's say questions. Why is it that this different natural events is happening? The occurrence of earthquake, volcanic eruptions, typhoon, and other kinds of natural phenomenon, or the natural occurrence or natural events that is happening. So aside from process, we can also say that science is actually, since we are dealing with knowledge, so when we talk about science, it is actually a philosophy. It is a philosophy of the natural world. So what does it mean? Because philosophy, that is the study of wisdom. So there is a knowledge, there is also a wisdom. So what does it mean? We are discovering, or we discover the truth behind material things. Okay, so yes, we do have this natural phenomenon, but what is the truth behind this natural phenomenon? Or not only natural phenomenon, but as well as different material things. Now, what is the truth of the evolution of this tree? Okay, so for example, yan, what is the truth behind this? Let's say this structure of the rock, or the structure of this kind of a mineral. So there is a discovery, discovering of the truth behind those different kinds of material things. So again, science came from the Greek word scientia, which is knowledge, and it is defined as body of knowledge and also a process, and then it's a philosophy of the natural world. Okay, and if we are wondering why we are studying science, why we are trying to understand what is basically science, we are trying to learn what is all about science, because there is actually an importance, and to answer that importance, we need to consider that there are three different perspectives, or let's say different perspective towards understanding or supporting, or let's say learning about science, or even using the concept of science. So we have different perspective. Number one, we have what we call the individual perspective. Individual, as a single person or a person. So we all know we do have different we do have different views towards science. But in general, and according to study, according to reference, learning science, understanding science is actually a way to gain new knowledge. New knowledge, new ideas, new discoveries, etc. So that is a practical reason of an individual on why we are going to try to understand about science, since science is actually a knowledge. So meaning if we know science, we can definitely come up or learn new knowledge, or new ideas, what is happening around us. So that is an individual perspective. Another one, when I talk about individual perspective, some individuals are using also science or understanding science as a career, or let us say using science, or if they learn science, they are using this one as a career. Be practical, practically speaking, there are professors, there are instructors, teachers of science, and basically they are earning. They are earning money. And in line to this earning of money, we know that there are also scientists, and there are scientists that working for corporations or maybe for different companies, and these companies or corporations are paying those scientists. So that is also one individual perspective of understanding now, or let's say using and applying science. So aside from the individual perspective, you're going to look at it in a wider scale, and in a broader area. There is also group of people. So not only individual, as a single person. So we have also what we call a societal perspective. So this societal perspective is there are a lot actually of reasons why our society or a societal group, or let's say a societal social group, social group are supporting now science, because number one, in our society, in our own society, we are trying to improve the people's lives. So like for example, when we look at the concept of chemistry, biology, so we are understanding what causes now this, let's say for example, diseases, and what are the things that we can do, or understanding the history, this kind of theory that can improve now the people's lives. So that is one answer to societal perspective. Another societal perspective, aside from improving the people's life, we are also having what we call, or we are using science and understanding science to have what we call economic development. In what way? In what way? We are trying to come up with or learning more efficient, more efficient and more efficient or effective ways to use and to use the natural resources, or to discover more or other natural resources that can be useful in our society. So that is economic development. Aside from economic development, we also have what we call yung control over our planet and our environment, because we are as a society, as a social group, as humans, we people, have the capability to modify or to change or to do something within our planet, or let's say our environment. So understanding what is happening around us, we can also try to come up with some ideas, or let's say ways, on how to control on what is happening, either to improve or to develop or to enhance our planet, our environment, or to take care of our environment, or maybe the other way around. So in reality, we cannot avoid the fact that there are still ways that can really destroy, or we are also the reasons why our environment or our planet is actually being destroyed. And so because we have what we call yung control over our own planet at the same, or not only our own planet but as well as the environment. Another reason why society is supporting the concept of science is that because it is out of curiosity and then satisfaction, because we do have a lot of questions. We do have whys, how and what will happen next, and why is it that we have this kind of natural phenomena, etc. So out of curiosity, and then satisfaction, if this kind of questions and problems that we are facing can be answered by science. So curiosity and then satisfaction. And that is the societal perspective. Aside from individual and then societal perspective, when we talk about science, always remember that when we talk about the perspective, on how we understand or how we deal with science and how we use science, we always take note that there is what we call science and then change. So we heard before, we are always actually hearing this one, that some people say that the only constant in this world is actually change. And same as true with science. Remember, my dear classmates, science is knowledge. Science is a process. Science is philosophy of the natural world. So basically, in science, there is also constant change. If we're going to check out the past, going to the present, and then even going to the future. For example, why is it said that there is a constant change? For example, theories. Theories come and go. In the sense that there are some theories that is being accepted before, but because of new discoveries, new proof, there are new things that we discovered, or we come up with a new concept, then definitely these kinds of theories can be updated. At the same time, can be changed or modified, or they will be replaced by a new theory. So maybe because of anomalies, or maybe anomalies, or a lack of explanation, or lack of proof or evidence on those different kinds of theories that is being accepted before. So it's being updated. We are discovering new things. And if as we discover new things, we also come up with new ideas, new theories. So there is a change. And there is a change. Not only that one, even in a different concept. Now let's say, for example, evolution. Or rather, not really evolution, but let's say revolutions. So there is a change of example, what we call some technological revolutions. So before, we do have a technology or tools, but that is not really that advanced. But during this present time, even going expected that during or maybe in the future, there will be a more effective and advanced type of technologies or maybe tools. Okay, so meaning there is actually change. Okay? So not only in knowledge, but as well as on what you san, let's say in other concept, no? There is always what you call a constant change. Okay? But in line to science, and the connection of change and science, probably it is said that science, no, we have what we call a constant change. Because this knowledge, this process, or maybe the philosophy of the natural world can definitely modify or can be updated or can change over time. Yan. So as time goes by, because of new discoveries, because there are new explanations, and they come up with a different evidence that was not existed before. That's why there is what we call a change. Okay, so again, there are three different perspectives of understanding in learning science, or how we deal to the concept of science. Number one, we have individual perspective, we also have societal perspective, and we have the connection or the concept of science and then change. Okay, so in science, there is also constant change. Alright, so that is all about science. Now, aside from science, we also have the other term or the next term, which is technology. Yeah, so yes, no, if you still remember the common definition also that, or let's say the common and the popular definition that that our teacher before, or maybe during your high school or senior high, is that technology is basically the application of science. Okay, so application of science, that is actually true. But just to be more specific, when you try to go back or look at the origin of this word, when we talk about etymology, it is the study of history of words, or the origin of words. It came from a Greek word, which is techne. And techne, that means arts, crafts, skill, manner, means by which a thing is gained. Okay. And we also have again another type of Greek word, or a Greek word, which is logos. I know that you have heard this one before, or maybe some of you have heard of this word. Logos means word or study of. So we can say that in a simple definition, we can say that it is a word or study of the arts, crafts, skill, manner, means by which a thing is actually gained. Okay. Or we can say that technology means words or discourse about the way things are actually gained. Okay, so that is a technology. Okay, so the word means is pertaining to tools and devices, or maybe gadgets. Yeah, so those are actually means. So, and how things is actually gained. Okay, so for example, in means, in, let's say, in the different devices. So if you try to look at our cell phone, our use of our car, the television, computers, there are actually things that is actually being gained, information, what else, photos, knowledge. Yeah, knowledge is also gained to these different kinds of things. So that is what we call technology. Same as true with arts, Same as true with arts. Arts and crafts, or through the use of arts and then crafts, we can also gain something. Okay? So expression, what else? The appreciation. Maybe we can also gain money because of these arts and then crafts. And so things is we can gain things, because of this technology. Yeah. And to understand better about technology, sometimes we are not only looking on the definition, or rather we can say that it is more than just looking at the definition of technology. That's why we have also the term which is contemporary usage. A contemporary usage which means that we are understanding or learning, or we are looking at we are viewing, no, technology more than the definition. Okay, so not only about gaining something, but sometimes you're going to ask other people or an individual, they can say that, oh, technology is not merely an art. Okay? It is more than an art. I can say that technology is actually giving me, let's say, giving me life. Okay? So I am living with technology. I cannot live without technology. Okay? And also, more than gaining something, because we can use these different technologies to improve now our life. Okay? Improve the quality of life, or maybe to help other people, etc., or maybe help the society or help the particular community to improve, okay? Or for development, etc. So it's more than actually the definition of or the definition that is being mentioned a while back, no? So not only by not only by crafts, skills, just to gain something, but it's actually more than that one. Yan. And aside from contemporary usage, if a person or a human being, there is what we call senses, no? Meron tayong 5 senses, yung seeing, feeling, smelling, etc. For technology, there is also what they call 5 senses, but this is pertaining to the working definitions of technology. Okay, so number one sense, or among the 5 senses, or number one working definition, we have what we call technological process. Okay, so what is technological process? It is the rational process of creating means. Yan. So what are those means? Again, I have said, no, those means are actually tools, devices, etc. Yan. So creating these means to order and transform matter, let's say the matter, the energy, and even the information to realize, no, the certain value ends of those means, or maybe let's say technology, no? So technological process, creating means to transform the matter, to transform the energy, the information into somewhat useful, or there will be a certain valued ends of those things. Okay, to understand better, let us connect on the next one, which is what we call technological objects. Okay, so technological objects is the set of means, and set of means, no? So we create now the means. Now we come up already with what we call the set of means. So there are tools, devices, systems, and methods, procedures that is already been created when we talk about technological objects. Okay? And these technological objects, since it's a set of means, it is also means that it was created, no, or it is created, created by the technological process. Kasi nga set of means na yan, no? Before, in technological process, we are only creating a means. But now, for technological objects, tapos na yung process, we come up with this object, then it's already a set of means. Okay? And what we call this one? And for example, no, let's say, since you're talking about set of means, let's say technological objects range, no? Let's say from the old type of technology, example, yung toothbrushes, although we do have a modern type of toothbrushes already this time, but let's say from toothbrush to what we call transportation system. Okay, so there is a what we call this one? There is a set of means, no? Yung toothbrushes, tapos we talk about transportation systems and other kinds of set of means. Okay? And in the third working definition, we have what we call technological knowledge. Technological knowledge discomposed now the facts and then procedures. Okay, so what does it mean? Technology is the knowledge that makes now what we call the technological process possible. Okay, so without the facts, without the procedures, we cannot really create means. Or we cannot come up with a process. That's why technological knowledge is making now the technological process possible. Yan. So, connected, no, yung facts and then procedures or technological knowledge towards technological process or towards creating now what you call the means. Okay? And what you call this one? It consists also of it consists of these facts and procedures that necessary to order or maybe manipulate the matter, the energy, and the information. The information, as well as how to discover new means for such transformations. So in the technological process, it is mentioned that it is the transformation, the transformation of what do you call this one, on how we transform now the matter, the energy, and then yung information, and to come up with a certain valued ends. So that is the technological process. But for technological knowledge, we are manipulating this kind of matter or this kind of energy or maybe information, and also to discover new means. And so not only by creating, but to discover a new means for these kinds of transformations. So that is technological knowledge. And for the fourth working definition, so meron na tayong technological knowledge and we have already technological objects. So we can come up now with what we call yung technology. So technology is a subset of the related technological objects and the technological knowledge. So for example, we have what we call computer technology. So we apply now the knowledge, the facts and procedures, and then also yung objects or the set of means that is being used for computer technology. So what kind of tools that is being used for computer technology? What kind of skills that is also being used for technological objects. At the same time, we are basing from facts and then procedures. So again, technology is composed of knowledge and then objects. But if you try to look at it deeper, since we have said that technological objects was created by the technological process, so it means that we can say it is safe to say that a technology is composed of the three, and from process going to object and even as the use of the knowledge, yung facts and then procedures. So it's not only limited to technological objects and technological object, but as well as yung ating technological process. So finally, aside from these four, so we come up now with what we call a system. So we combine all those four, so we can say that there will be a technological system. So technological system is composed now of technological process. We have the technological process, the technological object, and even yung technological knowledge. Aside from those three, we have also developers or creators of technological objects, and even consumers and users of these technological objects, and even yung ating tinatawag na worldview. For example, the beliefs about things and the value of things that shape how one views the world. So about the beliefs about the things, and then yung value of this kind of things. And that has emerged now from and drives the technological process. So it always going back on the process, because there will be possible that we can create a new types of means or maybe a new means. That's why it's actually drives now yung technological process. But again, when we talk about technological system, that compose now those four. So from technological process going now to a technology. So from facts, procedures, going to creating means, and then coming up with a set of means, and as well as to come up with a technology. Okay? And that as a whole, it's already a technological system. Okay? So that is again the 5 senses or the 5 working definition of technology. Now, if you try to look at the difference, no, of science and then technology, yan, the fundamental differences of these two, science is more of what we call theory, and technology is more on practice. Yan, sabi nga natin, no, it was already mentioned that we have said that technology is the application of science. So this is the practice, no? So yung science natin is the theory and technology is practice. So for science, for example, we search for knowledge. Yan, we search for knowledge, we gain knowledge. But for technology, we are practically applying applying this kind of knowledge. Okay, so practical application of the knowledge, yan, gained from our natural world, no, or the different facts on the natural worlds, or let's say what is happening around us or in that particular natural phenomena. Okay, so from knowledge going now to practical application of knowledge. Another one, no, different of these differences of the science and technology, way of understanding ourselves in the physical world. And for technology, it's way of adapting. Yan. So if we understand what is happening in the physical world, in technology, we are adapting, yan, ourselves to the physical world. So understanding, and then for practice, we are adapting. Now we are trying to adapt what is really happening, or aside from understanding. So that is more on science. But for technology, we are adapting now. So for example, let's say there is a certain natural occurrence, like for example typhoon. To adapt with this type of typhoon, we come up with a way to predict, no, on when this typhoon will occur, or let's say what are the things, let's say precautions, no, that we're going to do, or preparations to adapt to this situation. Okay? And another one, process of asking questions and finding answers, then creating broad generalization. That is actually a method, no, or a process of science. But when you talk about technology, process of finding solutions, yan, to human problems, to make lives easier and better. Okay? Now, look at now the difference. We are processing of asking questions. Okay? But for technology, processing of finding yan solutions. We have similarities, no? Ang na-mention kasi doon sa science, we are also finding answers, then creating a broad generalization. But for technology, more on practice, no? More on practice kasi yan. So finding solutions to human problems to make the lives easier and better. So for technology, no need actually to generalize. Yan. But for science, there is what we call generalization. No? So mas broader yung way of science because that is a theory. But for technology, it's way more on practice. Yan. Another one, looks for order or patterns in the physical world. That is science. No, but for technology, looks for ways to control yan, the physical world. Okay, so if we are looking for order or patterns in science, for technology, we are looking for ways yan, to control the physical world. Remember, no, when we talk about technology, aside from practice, we are pertaining to the different means, no? Yung devices, technology, and we are using this one to control this type of what is happening in the environment or maybe what is happening around us. Okay, so it's really a practice, no? More on practical way yung, or let's say application, yung technology compared now to science that is more on theory. Yan. For science, evaluated by how well the facts support the conclusion or a theory, but for technology, evaluated by how well it works. Yan. Example again, device, no? How well is the use of this device? How effective the use of this device? But for science, we are more on how well the effectiveness of this idea or this kind of theory or the conclusion or maybe the facts that support this kind of conclusion or theory. Okay, so talagang knowledge talaga, no, yung or theory talaga yung science compared to technology. Yeah, that more on practical application or more on practice. Another one, limited by the ability to collect relevant facts, But for technology, there is a limited by financial costs and safety concerns because we are already using a different natural resources. Okay? And there is already a, what we call this one, more on economic concept yung ating technology compared to science. Although when we define science now in societal perspective, we have mentioned economic development. But we are not only using science, but we are also applying now this science to come up with the application or the practice of technology. Okay? And last one, discoveries give rise to technological advances. That is science. That is the theory. Now, because we are discovering, we are trying to know better or know something more about the natural world, or the natural world or what is happening around us. And for technology, advances give rise to scientific discoveries. Okay, so maybe it's a little bit similar, but actually there's a differences, no? So technological advances, no, for science. So we discovered this one, so we can actually do something to come up with a more advanced technologies, or let's say technological advances. But for technology, since andyan na yung technology, since we have already an advanced technologies, then this will give rise now to what we call scientific discoveries. Okay? So we can use this technology or this practice to come up or to discover more, no? Or let's say a scientific discoveries. So there is a slight confusion between the two, but that is how is the differences, no? So discoveries will give technological advances, that is science, that is theory, and for technology, that is a practice wherein there will be a more scientific discoveries because of the use of these technologies. Okay, so practice nga naman, no, application talaga yung ating technology. So those are some fundamental differences between science and then technology, and there are actually more that is mentioned in this slide, no, or this presentation on the differences of this science and technology. You can find more on the website or different websites or online platforms, and you can see actually the difference of science and then technology. But in any case, they are still connected, or there is a relationship between the two. But before I proceed with the relationship of technology and then science, let us try to define also what is all about society. So since our subject is science, technology, and society, we need to define what is all about society. So society is practically speaking, or when we define society, this is a social group, no, of people in a certain area with a common interest and with a common goal. Okay, so that is basically society. This term was already introduced to us in the early grades or maybe during our high school, elementary, especially kapag social subject yung ating we are learning about social subjects, yan, or maybe political science, yan, or pol-sci. Ano pa yan, yung sa HKS ba yun, kung mayroon pa kayong HKS during your high school, okay? Or araling panlipunan, yan, those things. Society is being defined, no? So the social group of people in a certain area with a common interest and common goal. And since we are talking about science and technology, and it is mentioned that science and technology change over time because of a social considerations or because of our society. In these reasons, no, or in these social considerations, number one, because of culture. Yan, as we all know, no, as we develop or as we come up with or as we adopt science and technology or come up with advancement of science and technology, practically speaking, culture is there to, let's say, either to improve the science and technology or maybe to stop, no, the operation or the change of this science and technology or advancement of science and technology. Okay? Another one, practice. Yan. Practices, yung nakasanayan na natin. Now, for example, my dear classmate, we are let's say in a particular community or particular province. Let's say for example, community or in the province. Since they have this kind of practices already, and suddenly there is something an introduced a new type of a new idea or new knowledge, or let's say a science, and then also an advancement of technology that will be introduced in that particular community. But then because of our practice, nasanay na tayo yung term na yon, no? Nasanay na tayo, so we don't need those things. So we are not open to adapt to particular science and technology because we already have this kind of practice, or we are influenced of these practices. Same as true with the culture. No? For example, let's say for example, we're going to build an infrastructure, or let's say a skyscraper in a particular community, and let's say that is full of trees. No? We still need, or let's say in that community, we still need the agreement, or let's say permission, no, from the older people, or maybe let's say yung tinatawag natin ng mga apu, no? So that is still connected to the culture. So there is a influence, no, of the culture and then practices, and even way of living. No? The way of living. Let's just look at the Philippines. Now, when we talk about the advancement of science and technology, particularly, let's say in farming. No? So in farming, we are still using the common or traditional way, no? Yung manual way, or we are using hands to plant, even to plant in croppings, what else, in harvesting. No, unlike the other countries, they are already using advanced technologies to harvest. No, let's say for example, they're using machines, robots. Although yes, we do have already during this 21st century, we are stepping up now in this country. So here in our country, in the Philippines, we are already having tractors and other kinds of machines, and even we are already adapting yung ways of or the use, no, of robots to this way of living. Example nga sa farming. So harvesting, planting, etc. And again, no, the way of living is really influencing now the advancement of science and technology. So not all countries have the same quality, or let's say advancement of the science and technology. And another one is to improve, no, or let's say the quality of life. Yung status, no, the quality of life in a particular community or in a particular society, or in our society nowadays. We cannot say that we have the same, no, way of understanding the science and technology, or adapting now this idea of science and then advancement of technology. So not all people can can afford, no, the advancement of technologies. Not all people can actually use these kinds of technologies, and because of the quality of life, no, and depending also on the country. For example, like for example, here in the country, we are considered to be in the moderate developing countries, and there are also highly developed countries, like for example the Western countries, the advanced technological countries, and we also have the less developed countries. So you see, no, depending actually on the quality of life. Not only country, but in a specific community of, or let's say a group of people, we can already see the difference. Now, on those people that can use this technology, can adapt on science and technology, but there are also a group of people that cannot really afford or cannot have an access to this idea of science and then technology. So there is a big influence, no, of quality of life towards science and technology. And another one, discoveries and innovations. So depending on the discoveries and innovations, that's also the driver, no, to the advancement or influences now the advancement of science and technology. So it will change, or the science and technology will change because of these discoveries and because of this innovation. So example, before, we don't have robots, we don't have AI, but during this time, we already have AI and robots. Before, we still don't know how to predict the different kinds of, or what kind of tools that we can use or technology that we can use to predict this kind of natural event, like for example earthquake, or maybe typhoon. But nowadays we can already have this kind of things. There are also other kinds of animals that yet to discover. So we can discover more different kinds of species And we can also study no, yung old type of animals that been existed before, for example, dinosaurs and so on. Okay, so you see, no, discoveries and innovations are actually one of the driver no, on the change, or let's say on the development or the advancement of science and technology. So that is how important no, the society. That's why our subjects, science, technology, and society, are actually a very good subject, no? Because we are dealing on these three different terms, and we are actually living no, with science and technology nowadays within our society. And there is an impact of science to technology, and technology have an impact also to science. At the same time, science and technology have an impact or influence towards our society. Vice versa, no? Society also have an impact towards science and technology. So it's very there is an interesting part, at the same time a challenging part on understanding the connection or relationship of the three. Yan yung science, technology, and society. And in a simple way, I come up with an illustration and try to answer this try to answer these practical questions, no? If you are watching this video, you can actually write down your answer. Yeah, number one, if you try to look at the structure, or if you observe the illustration, there are certain questions no, that can arise. For example, without science, will technology exist? So what will be your answer? Yeah, so we are understanding now the connection no, of science and then technology. So without science, will technology exist? So the answer is probably yes. Yan, yes pa rin yan. Kahit na walang science, technology will still exist. Now, as we have said, science is actually a theory, and technology is a practice. And we have also defined that technology is actually art. Yan, it's actually art, means skill no, on how to gain something or how to gain a thing. No? So kahit na sabihin pa natin na if we can say that technology is application of science, but in other perspective, no? Yes, if that will be our basis, kapag sinabi nating science, technology is the application of science, we can say no. But in a wider perspective, kahit na wala pa ang science, andyan pa rin naman ang technology. Technology still exists kasi nga there's an art, there's a craft, there are skills on how to gain a thing. Okay? And number two, yan, how about baliktarin natin? Let us have a vice versa question. Without technology, will science exist? Probably. No, yes. And so kahit na wala ang technology, we still have theories. No? We still have the knowledge. We still have this kind of process. We still have this kind of philosophy on the natural world. Okay, so still, science will exist even though without technology. Yan. Another one, without science and technology, will society exist? Yes, probably. No, kahit pa wala ang science and technology, society will still exist. Since we are talking only when we define society, and that is a social group, no? Social group of people with a common interest and a common goal. So kahit na wala pa ang science and technology, it doesn't exist, but still society will exist. People will still exist. But when you try to look at the reality, we are already connected. We are already living with science and technology. Yan, yun nga lang, kahit nga hindi tayo gumagamit ng, let's say, we are not using cell phone, no, we are not using gadgets or computer, etc. We don't have this kind of robots, rockets, other kinds of devices, gadgets, the televisions, etc. We still exist. A human or a social group or a group of people will still exist. So, society will still exist kahit nawala yung mga science at saka technology na yan. And what if, nabaliktarin natin, without society, will science and technology exist? So, probably ang sagot dyan, yes pa rin naman. Yan, yes pa rin. No, yes. In a way, that science and technology is already existed. No, kahit na wala pang humans before, remember, no, let's say when you try to look back on how the creation of our universe or our world, no, there is already existence of the science. Yan. So, sa pag-create pa lang ng universe natin, the presence or the existence of the different terrestrial objects or what is really happening outside our planet Earth, andyan na yung science. Okay? So that is and even different knowledge is already there, is already existing. Arts are already existing. Everywhere you can actually see arts and then crafts. So technology is already existed. So that is the practical answer is still yes, no? And again, no, sabi ko nga, society is still connected to science and technology because we are already living with science and technology. And in fact, no, we have mentioned a while back that there are social considerations that influencing now the science and technology. And society is also one of the drivers, society is also one of the drivers on the development or the improvement of what is all about science, or let's say understanding now science and technology. Same as true with science and technology. No? Science and technology will change because of the impact or influence of our society. So if you're going to remove one from the three, there will be an impact, there will be a problem. However, not actually necessary. Kahit man natanggalin mo yung isa dyan sa tatlong yan, still, the other two will actually exist. Yun nga lang, in reality, there will be a big problem. Kasi nga, remember, no? Connected yung tatlong yan. Okay, so from science, technology, and then society. Kaya nga, if you try to look at the illustration that I have made, that I am presenting you, the arrow will represent now, or will say that there is actually an interdependence and interrelationship of the three. Okay, so the three are depending on each other. At the same time, there is an interrelationship. No, there is a connection or relationship of the three. Okay, so makikita natin, no, as we go on to the different chapters, you can see how science and technology is influencing now the society. At the same time, society is influencing also the development of science and technology. Alright, so as an example of the advancement of technologies during this time, we have actually 9 inventions. And meron tayong 9 inventions from the 21st century that are still shaping our world today. However, if you're watching this recorded video, your task is actually research and understand the different 9 inventions from the 21st century that are still shaping our world today. So I'm not actually going to give you a definition or discussion on these 9 inventions, because as we go on to different chapters, these 9 inventions will be actually discussed. And maybe some of it will be present to you in the different chapters. That's why your assignment is to look for the definition and research about these 9 inventions, and that's why your assessment now is actually connected to these nine inventions from the 21st century that are still shaping our world today. So we have number 1, we have social media. As we all know, when we talk about social media during this 21st century, this time, our present time, social media is actually everywhere. Now we have the TikTok, Facebook, we have Twitter. So before pa nagkaroon ng Facebook and then Twitter, Instagram, etc. I don't know if you have kung naabutan ninyo or you have reached the time of the creation of Friendster. That is the early type of social media. And other kinds of medias that will be presented to you during the next chapters. So from the early type of medias that was used until the development of social media. And another one, we also have the multi-use rockets. Maybe some of you are fan of Elon Musk. But Elon Musk is the one who introduced or created the multi-use rockets in last 2017. They launched already yung multi-use rockets. And no more information about this multi-use rockets, so that you will answer also your assessment there in our canvas. Okay, and another one, we have also the capsule endoscopy. So this is very useful nowadays, or let's say in the 21st century, that still existing pa rin naman itong capsule endoscopy, and they are still improving or enhancing or developing this type of tool or technology. So doctors are using this one to check out or look for what is happening inside the body, no, of an individual or a human being. So capsule endoscopy is very one of the breakthrough in the medical technology, or let's say in the medicine concept. Okay, what else? We also have the blockchain technology. And blockchain technology, and in line to that, we have the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So there is what we call this one, an indirect, let's say more on business concepts, no, itong ating blockchain technology and yung ating Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And as we all know, we have been hearing what is all about this cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. If you still don't know, you need to check out or search about this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because this is one of the popular business or in line on trading, yan, business concept, itong ating Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Same as through the blockchain technology. Okay, so try to look out what is all about this blockchain technology in the Bitcoin and then cryptocurrency. Very popular yan actually nowadays. Okay, but I think it started 2001 yan, or maybe earlier, because in the 1997 or the 90s, they attempt not to create actually yung blockchain at saka yung Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but there is a let's say considerations why it does not pursue. But during the 21st century, meron na tayong blockchain technology at saka Bitcoin and then cryptocurrency. Okay? And mobile operating system. Imagine if we don't have smartphone. Okay? So the smartphone are basically using yung operating system. And that operating system is an AI or maybe a type of advanced technological system, no, that will process these different kinds of applications, etc. So that is still shaping our world today, yung ating mobile operating system, also yung OS, no, yung operating system, not only in the smartphone but even in the different gadgets or devices. Example, sa computer, sa laptop, sa iPad, etc. Those are basically using now operating system. Yan, meron din tayong 3D printing, and I think this is one of the popular advanced technology. No? And this will be also presented to you during the late chapters. No? So sa finals na, madidiscuss yung ating 3D printing. And even yung AI, the use of 3D printing, yung there is what we call 3D printing of an organs, etc. and so on. So 3D printing is one of the breakthrough as well of science and technology. Okay? And we also have gene editing, or the CRISPR, the CRISPR, no, yung term natin dyan. For gene editing, this was already been using since the 1970s. No, pero still, 21st century pa rin naman, towards 21st century, gene editing is still developed and then enhanced, or still in development, I should say. No, so still in development and then they are enhancing this gene editing. Okay, and we also have the IoT, or yung tinatawag natin na Internet of Things. So if you have heard about virtual countries like Singapore, yan, and even in the other Western countries na meron silang IoT or Internet of Things. Here in the country, not really. Actually, of the Internet of Things, we are still stepping up on how we apply itong ating tinatawag na IoT or improve the apply Internet of Things here in the country. Okay, so try to look again, no, on the details or in the other websites what is all about this Internet of Things. Although this will be discussed also during the finals. Yan, sa finals pa rin madidiscuss itong IoT, and I will give you a better understanding towards what is all about the IoT. Okay, so again, those are the different 9 inventions from the 21st century that are still shaping our world today. So try to look on the different details, yan, aside from our module, so that you can answer yung ating assessment. So that there are also things that you can do. Yan, para may gagawin din naman kayo. Huwag lang yung makikinig kayo sa sasabihin ko, but yan, mention na natin yung 9 inventions. All you need to do is to look for the other details or important details on those different 9 inventions. So that's it, no, my dear classmate. Thank you so much for joining me in this recorded video, and I hope that you learned something. But the big question, no? What will be the application of this information that I have presented to you? So, practically speaking, now we have learned about what you call one about the definition of science, technology, and then society. And we come to know the relationship or connection of the three. And as we go on, as we go on to the different chapters, you will learn more on the application of science, technology, and society towards our natural world. So we can actually use this one as our foundation or basis as we go on to the next chapter. So this is only an introduction. This is only an overview. At least you have an idea what is all about our subject and the expected topics that you will learn for the upcoming chapters. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening to this recorded video, and stay safe. God bless everyone, and I'll see you on the next video.